Jesus, my God, those are good.
Boom, there we have it. That wraps up today's trading day. It was a bit weird of a trading day, to be honest. We had just a bunch of what it felt like leftover stocks, all the big runners from Thursday and Friday. And honestly, for the last 2 to 3 weeks, it was all the same tickers, are really starting to lose momentum today. And so many of these small caps have absolutely no news. Even the ones gapping up, they're just all a bunch of sympathy plays. So I don't know if overextendedness is a word, but if it is, that's really what we're seeing today. The effects of this overextendedness really coming to fruition, and really a lot of traders being extremely cautious like I was today, where I knew out of the gate I probably would not want to be trading anything along the gap and go strategy. Anything gapping up, I felt like it was probably going to gap and pull back, and that's kind of what happened. But it has been an insane rally, and I don't want to downplay it at all. Plus, the dip buying opportunities are tremendous. We were watching them all day long, and I only got one. Unfortunately, I was a little bit hesitant, and I could have definitely been a little bit more aggressive today. But I was still having TOS issues. A lot of my trades weren't showing up in the charts very quickly. My alerts were delayed, and I don't really like that. Plus, it's Monday after a super wild Thursday and Friday. So it's always good to be extra cautious, kind of wake up a little bit, get started for the weekend. Nobody wants to start a week red, so why not be extra cautious? I think the only bad thing about being extra cautious is missing several moves and then having FOMO near the end of the day, and then all of a sudden being right on the day because you weren't aggressive at the beginning of the day, which is kind of a weird thing to think about, but it's definitely happened before. So I was really trying to prep myself and understand that, if I don't get any trades in these first 30 minutes of the market open, I'm probably going to be a little bit more aggressive in the afternoon, when that's the exact time I shouldn't be aggressive. So just, understanding your psychology a little bit and your personality, and really just kind of accepting it, is really important, especially on days like today. After 11, and even right now, we are continuing to have really nice pullbacks. And trust me, I am, it's tough for me not to want to get aggressive right now. I do have the Roth IRA account always near big support areas. I have some limit orders, so that kind of reduces some of my FOMO. But still, technically, I have one more trade available today in my $25,000 gap and go strategy account. So, sometimes I'm like, maybe I should just, enter a trade right now, but usually not the best idea. All right, IBIO and CPHI were our two lead gappers for the day. We're going to start off reviewing those now on the chart, and then we'll talk about some of the other stocks that were moving and were called out on the stream today that we were watching and potentially trading. Remember, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoy this content, and if you're totally new here, I would love to have you join the channel. Definitely consider subscribing, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow. All right, enough of the chit chat. It's time for the charts. All right, so here we have it. First, I got IBIO up, and then I want to talk about CPHI because both of these were our two lead gappers. Unfortunately, IBIO, instead of a gap and go, became more of a pullback queen today. I mean, honestly, there was two really nice spots for a potential pullback, maybe three, but definitely two. The thing was, it had no news today. So no new news. Wow, that's so weird to say. Sorry about that, guys. But Friday, I believe, Friday or Thursday it was, they had a virus vaccine partnership news kind of out there, and that was the big ripper, I think, for the 27th, and then the 28th was kind of everything was flying. Actually, 27th and 28th, everything was flying. So, but they had news, and that's usually a good sign. So I was kind of thinking we have to be careful with IBIO. It is potentially the first big or the third big green day, so I do want to be a bit more cautious. But trading this pre-market actually would have been maybe the ticket. So this thing runs up 63% right in the morning, Monday morning. So let's see here. Monday morning runs up, and then it starts pulling back actually. Whoops. Let me go, actually, zoom out. Yeah, this is nice. Okay, so it pulls back to here where we have big long-term support. So 2.5. Check this out. Let me go to the long-term chart, and you can see we have a high right around here at 166. We just go ahead and mark that. And then yesterday, we had some key areas right around 2.5. So we closed in this area. We had a top in this area from the day before. You can kind of see here on the 5-minute chart. Well, actually, it's a little hard to see. It's a tiny screen. So let me just pull back over here. So we had a top in this area, and we had a breakout at 2.5 the day before, so on Friday. And this was our really nice 19% IBO trade. IBIO. And we also had a huge crash under it, and then we pulled back, and then we were kind of stuck in this 2.5 area resistance zone. So it kind of became a very clear support and resistance area, just because there was a lot of volume being traded here. And let me just now go forward a little bit to where we are now. And yeah, so pre-market, this thing pulled all the way down to 2.52 or 2.53, give or take. It's a little hard to tell, but I think it's 2.52. And then this thing bounces really, really nice, 24%. And then, you know, market opens, it tries to pull higher, but it gets rejected and pulls back about 18-19% back to this 2.5 area. I always say these big support line bounces, you can almost get a guaranteed one bounce. You don't know how strong it's going to be, but the second and third bounce, if you even get to the third bounce, you really want to be careful. And here it kind of shows it perfectly. So we had, again, nice little bounce here, and this was a 15% bounce, give or take. We went to 2.44, so we crashed to 2.5, but then we pulled right back up. Let me just quickly zoom in a little bit more so we can have a bit more view on the volume, because the volume is always really important. So this big red volume candle is a good indicator that we might see a slowdown. We had two more small red candles after that, potential good indicator that there's going to be a bounce. I'm not really sure what I was doing here. Was I watching IBIO? This kind of screams a trade that I want to take. So I'm a little disappointed I didn't do this one, but I said I want to be cautious because this is the second bounce. Either way, in 3 minutes, it pulls up 15%. So that's 5% a minute. Would have been the ticket for sure. And pulled back again to this area, a little bit lower this time. This time was about a 9-10% bounce. And then the fourth time, I think that was the time it crashed. So you really want to watch out with these, but this time IBIO, we could have milked it a few times, especially around those whole dollars, right? Or the whole or half dollars. So 2.5 would have been a big ticket. And then again at $2, we break $2, but that was kind of the peak volume time. And then right here, we consolidate a little bit. And this was kind of like the last thing we watched on the live stream. So I could have probably got a little bit more aggressive here, but it was already past 11 o'clock. I didn't really want to trade anymore. If this happened earlier, I would have done this trade. This bounce was pretty nice as well, 20% bounce. You know, not too bad. That's always what I want to look for a bounce. And that was in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles. I mean, right here, that was absolutely amazing. So kind of unfortunate that we were not able to get on board with this one. I really wanted to trade IBIO as we were consolidating in this area. And when I was making the recap video intro, we had this little 1 minute dip here. And I was like, oh man, every bone in my body wants to trade this right now. And this time it would have paid off, but I ran up 18%. But there's so many times where it just starts fizzling out, and then 2 hours goes by, and then I'm behind on my, everything else I need to do in my life. And then sometimes it's not rewarding. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that trading later in the day for me is just, it's not really worth it anymore. Yeah, I might occasionally, like today, or make a good little bit of upside, but ultimately it totally throws me off. And I'm already pretty exhausted at 11 because right now I'm in Europe and I'm 6 hours ahead of the market open. So, even though it might be just 11 o'clock in Florida or the East Coast where the market opens, it's already 5 p.m. over here, and I get up pretty early. So it's much later in the day than I'd usually want to be trading. I've said that many times before, so I'm not gonna talk about it too much. But I don't have any FOMO that I missed out on this. It's still pretty fun to watch, and yeah, that's just how it is. Let's go over to CPHI, and this was our runner-up lead gapper, so our second lead gapper, and this is the one that kind of took the crown for today. It had a really, now the trades are popping up on the chart again. That's a good sign. It had a really nice pre-market run here, and this was a 156 or 160% gap, exactly what we're looking for. It also had a catalyst. There was news on it, new product news on this one. I think it's somewhere here. China Pharmaceutical Holdings right here launched a new product. So any sort of new product or something like that, especially with these biotechs, is really, really good. Any sort of catalyst, honestly, is usually a good thing. But the market was not really ready for big explosions today like we saw Thursday and Friday. And I think traders in general were just like, wow, it was such a roller coaster. Let me be extra cautious today. But with CPHI, since it had a decent amount of volume, 46 million market cap, 43 million shares outstanding, I think the float was about 20 million. It was exactly in the price range we're looking for. It was kind of close to sub-dollar, which made me a little iffy about it, not to mention the giant spread on the decimals here is really not what I like to trade on these small caps. So maybe that's why I was a little bit cautious out of the gate. But let's see here. From 140, 1.45, we pulled back all the way to here. So actually pre-market, this was about a 30% pullback. And that's usually when I'm a little bit cautious as well. I don't typically like these stocks to pull back more than 25% pre-market. I like when they hold above VWAP. But we were kind of pulling back to this $1 area. And I said, and I should have maybe been a bit more stay true to what I said, because I said if it dips under $1 and the volume fades, I would like to go long this thing, especially, in the 0.97 area. That's like one of the first things I said on the stream today. And, we had 3 minutes of consolidation right here, and then this thing rips 40%. So CPHI 100% would have been the one out of the gates to trade. Would have been amazing. Unfortunately, I kind of snoozed on this one. I missed it. I was watching it break out here higher, and I could have got aggressive, but I just never did. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate how I traded CPHI, because this would have been definitely the ticket. Then we were making a pennant pattern here, nice bull flag. I don't like trading pennant patterns, so I did not get aggressive on this one. But if you check the chart, we're also here at 1.4 area where there's big, this was the only top we've ever had. So everyone's looking at 1.4 and everyone thinks there's going to be big resistance there. That's just trading 101. So 1.45, you can see we had a perfect top here. Pre-market, we had that top several weeks ago. So yeah, it's a sketchy spot to be trading. And guess what happened? We did not break out. There was just too much resistance here. And yeah, we had a nice little pullback. We had a 2-minute pullback, and it was quite aggressive. It was about 14%. And on that second pullback, where we had the most volume, I was like, I'm going to get aggressive here. Not just are we pulling back below VWAP, but we're near this former breakout area, about 1.09. So I joined the bid on this one because it's very tough to place an order. You can see if I try to buy, for example, let's say right here, I'm going to get a rejection. Here, the SARI system did not accept your order. The minimum price increment of this instrument is 0.01. Please, TD, please fix that issue. Don't show prices that we can't enter. It's really, really annoying, and it really makes entering the order book a little harder. So I joined the bid, which is not fun to do because sometimes you don't exactly know where that entry is. Now, if I say join the bid right now, since I have auto send off, you will see that the order pops up here, and I could say confirm. But if you're trying to be quick on these big red candles, you got to be quick sometimes. And the problem is, it's going bouncing up and down in this candle. This is a big candle. I mean, you could get like anywhere from 3 to 6% slippage very easily. So I don't know. It made me a little bit nervous. I couldn't really tell where my limit was. Luckily, we got a near perfect entry here. It doesn't always happen. Then we had a nice little bounce here, 4%, 5%, and around 5.4% at 1.17. I said, okay, that's enough for me. I'm out of this trade, sold my position. It did run up though, another 4 or 5%. So we did leave a nice little chunk of money on the table, but that's fine. It's not about getting perfect entry and perfect exit. It's just about getting the meat of the move. And this time we had a perfect entry, but not that great of an exit. So that's fine. We still got a really, really nice run. Made $66. Not the biggest position size, about 1,200 position size, but fairly okay. I was really wanting to trade this one again and again. And I guess, as we pulled back to 1, which was a former breakout zone, I should have been a little bit more attentive in this area. I should have decided to get aggressive here. And I was waiting for just a one bigger, candle pullback. I was waiting for, a quick whack down, kind of like one of these candles, right? Or just something like this that would hit maybe 0.97. That's when I wanted to get long. And before I knew it, I missed this entry. It ran up 10, 12, 13%. And I was like, whatever. That just happens. And luckily I didn't get any FOMO and try to buy any of these breakouts because they just were really messy. Maybe this one was kind of clean, but I don't know. Just tough trading this one. And I'm happy I was able to squeeze out what I could from it. But, those first 3 minutes would have been the time to get aggressive as we were approaching that really, really big $1 support area. And it clearly held. So that would have been the ticket with CPHI. Very quickly before I wrap up, TTNP and IFRX, really interesting plays that we could have traded today. TTNP, 28 million market cap, 83 million shares outstanding. A little bit high, so I was very cautious with this one. Plus it was sub-dollar. But, gap up, it wasn't really super interesting, ran up 60% and then kind of consolidated in this area. What to me was really interesting was this run it had. And during this run, it was shouted out in the stream and I kind of got interested. I was watching it in this area, ran up about 8%. Good thing I didn't trade it because I think I would have not traded this one right. Somehow, something about this one it was tough. Although I must say, as we broke out of this resistance area at 1.38, it would have been really good. Pulled back 5%, retested this breakout area, and then ran another 15%. So that would have been probably the ticket. It did take a little bit long, and the exit, I think, is very unclear. Usually you'll have a blow off top or something that's a little bit more, it gives you a bit more direction, but TTNP, I don't know, the way this one traded was just really, really tough. And this is something you see all the time with these sub dollars, that just the chart is not as clear, and that's oftentimes why I stay away from them. Then I was looking for a pullback trade, originally near the VWAP, because we had big support in this area, but none of the pullbacks were really that strong. All these were like 4%, and if you get a perfect trade and you make 4%, that's not good, because a perfect trade should get you 10% plus. If a perfect trade gets you to 4%, that means your typical entry, if it's a little sloppy or something like that, 0.3785, and then you maybe sell a little too early or get shaken out. I don't know. All that work for maybe 2%, that's tough. And not to mention, then if you do that 10 times, but the last time you do it, there's a giant, crash, and all of a sudden you're down 10%. I think making those kind of trades over the long run will really put you in some bad positions. I gotta say though, TTNP, as it broke 0.3, I should have got long, and it was during my introduction video, and I definitely should have got long. I heard the ding, I looked, and I was like, I should really trade this one, and it was right around here. It was at 12 o'clock, so way past when I really want to be trading, but you can see we broke 3 for just a second. We went to 0.2968, and ever since then, we've been pulling up, so about 16% now. There's no way I would have held till now, but there's probably a really good chance I would have held to the former support, so maybe scored about 5-6%. So I think I would have done that. Not to mention on the 5-minute chart, you can see we've touched this area many times at 0.3. And every time it's kind of held. So I think just retesting this area after such a big sell-off is totally warranted. And this could have been a really nice trade. And I'm kind of disappointed that I missed this one, because to me, especially in hindsight, it's super obvious, but even not in hindsight, it's pretty obvious. And a lot of times these are the ones I go for the support line bounces. But yeah, it's fine. Just kind of missed this one. No news, nothing really too interesting. So, it doesn't really bother me that I didn't trade it. And very quickly, IFRX, this one would have been nice. So I'm always looking for a stock that from around 9:55 a.m. to 10:05, that, there's going to be some sort of breakout, something that, is consolidating around where it opened, usually with really good support below it and really nice potential upside above it, ideally with a catalyst. IFRX did have no news and low volume, so it put me, a little bit on edge. But you can see here, we have a huge gap down area, so this could be filled, and we're kind of breaking above long-term resistance here. Plus the 180-day moving average is below. So IFRX was actually a really interesting stock, and I think it could have a really good rally, since today is just really the first big green day. So IFRX, I'm definitely going to be looking at it tomorrow, and yeah, it would have been cool if we kind of traded this one, but this is basically how it looked if I was looking at it around 10 o'clock, and I don't know, it's a little all over the place. I think the fact that this thing absolutely exploded is kind of surprising. You can see here, first big volume candle pops in, and there's no news. I have no idea why this thing started popping up. It could have been a short squeeze. So basically shorts having to cover their positions. And this thing just minute after minute just explodes. This run was so nice from 0.5, let's say, all the way up about 40%. I mean, not the biggest move, but pretty interesting. And I was thinking about trading IFRX as we broke $5. I wanted to buy somewhere around the 4.75 area. We never really got that perfect crash. All the bounces were a little weak. Even, again, I don't know, just nothing like really that amazing. So I don't really feel bad that I didn't get any other trades in today. I mean, there was really good potential, but I think it was those first 3 minutes, especially with IBIO, when it pulled, not IBIO at 2.5 for sure, right here in this area. That would have been good. And then really CPHI in that $1 area. That's really what I should have been doing. When this $1 area pulled back and then instantly bounced back up and we started consolidating around 0.98, I should have jumped on this so hard. CPHI, sorry about that, was one of our lead gappers. I mean, this is the one a lot of people are looking at, and I don't know, I should have got aggressive there. Big long-term support. So, you know, lesson learned or lesson reinforced. I mean, I knew this was going to be a good one. So it's a little painful to watch something like that get away from you because you call it out and then you don't trade it. It's kind of ridiculous, but it happens sometimes. And I'm just happy today we ended green because today was such a crazy day in terms of, just, a lot of sell-off pressure, nothing really clear that you want to trade. And, it's really easy to make a mistake on a day like today, and especially like Thursday and Friday. So I'm pretty happy we ended today green. And I will see you guys then tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button. And if you're new here, definitely consider subscribing. I'd love to have you join the channel. Till tomorrow, guys, like always, stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.